This is Josh Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by Frank Smith. Frank, it's fight week, Taylor Catterall too. How are we feeling?
Good, mate. I'm loving the music. It's fucking great vibe to start fight week in Leeds. The weather is not great, but it's a big week, a big night.
Massive week ahead, obviously. We'll start off by talking about the main event, Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall. It's kind of almost like, to me it feels like a winner stays on type of fight. They're both kind of at the stage of their career. It's a bad blood fight. You know, Josh has obviously had the success at world level. Josh had the success at world level. Jack's still awaiting that success. It's a great fight. One of the most highly anticipated rematches of the year, isn't it?
100%. Look, this has been years in the making. It's been made a few times, hasn't happened. Even most recently got delayed now from April to May. But it's a fight people have wanted to see. You know, Jack Catterall deserved that win in that fight. When was it? 3 years ago now? The first time round for the Undisputed. Jack Catterall deserved to be Undisputed Champion of the World. He didn't get it, but this is his chance to avenge that unfair result, you know, in many people's eyes. Great fight. A lot of spite between the two of them, a lot of fire between the two of them, but it's finally here, and we get to see it on Saturday night. It's a real fight. You know, Jack Catterall, as you say, gets the win here, moves on to huge opportunities, huge world title opportunities. And Josh Taylor, I think, it's the kind of fight, if he wasn't to win, you'd think maybe this could be the end of the road for him. You know, he's done very well financially, he's been in big fights. But yeah, look, a great night of boxing ahead, and a big fight for both of their careers.
Something I find very interesting about this fight is Josh Taylor agreeing to do this at 140. You know, he's made it no secret that he struggles to make the weight. It's no secret when you see him on the scales that he doesn't look great. And after the Teofimo Lopez fight, we all kind of thought, right, it's off to 147 now. But it's still at 140. Are there any doubts in yours and Matchroom's mind that Josh could possibly not make weight, or are you fully confident?
I don't believe so. Josh is a pro. He looks in great shape. He's had a great training camp from what we hear. You know, apart from the slight delay, he's had a great camp, and I think he's ready to go. I don't think there's any concern that he doesn't make the weight. You know, and I think he wanted to fight. He didn't want to have any people make any excuses. He wanted to go in there, and he wants to beat Jack Catterall. And he doesn't want people to say, well, you didn't do it at the weight, you didn't do it at 140. But yeah, look, anything's possible in boxing, but I'm not concerned.
Fair enough. Just last bit on this, there was some very interesting footage that came out in the pre-fight documentary. Obviously, Team Catterall out in Tenerife training, and then Sam Jones gets the call while they sat down for food from Tom Grant and gets told the fight is delayed. And you can see the real raw reaction of them finding out. You can see Jack says he's going to message Josh and says some not so nice things to him. When you guys found out that the fight was delayed, was there any doubts, especially when Jack was meant to be getting married around this time? Were there any delays? Were there any thoughts that this fight might just not happen?
Yeah, I think many people had those thoughts that it wouldn't happen because, like I say, how many years in the making has this fight been? You know, and it hasn't happened. So yeah, there were people with doubts, I'm sure. And I think now fight week's here. We're just a few days away, and we're gonna see it. But yeah, always there was a concern at that point, but I'm glad we got it over the line. Everyone moved very quickly, worked well together to make it happen, and that's why we're here.
And now looking back at last week, a massive week in the history of boxing. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, a monster event. Just talk to me about how you scored that main event, because some people are struggling to score it. Do you believe Usyk was the deserved winner?
Yeah, look, I've got to be honest with you, I think he was. I think, don't get me wrong, it was a close fight, but I think it was... I thought it was an easy enough fight to score. You know, I'm not great at scoring fights, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm also not a judge, so not my job to score fights. I kind of had it 5-2 after 7 rounds, but then I think Usyk really came into his own beyond that. You know, obviously scored the knockdown as well. I sort of think a round or so to Alexander Usyk was a fair result. So yeah, I don't think there's any contesting of the. Thank you. I don't think there's any contesting personally of the fight being unfairly scored. You know, everyone's obviously going to have their view, but yeah, I think the right man won. But an amazing fight, by the way. Like, not taking any. Like I say, Fury was probably 5-2 up after 7 rounds. You know, in that fight. So both of them went in there, the two of the best going in against each other. It's exactly what we expected. It should have been a close fight. When we're talking about the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world, you don't want it to be a whitewash one side. So yeah, great fight.
Tyson made it no secret that he was a bit disappointed with the corner work. Obviously, you had John Fury shouting down his ear while Sugar Hill was trying to tell him the tactics. Do you feel a change might need to be made, and a change could be upon us with Tyson Fury, especially with him stating so quickly into a very short post-fight press conference that he was not happy?
I don't know, that's going to be a decision he'll have to make. Look, he suffered his first loss in his whole career. You know, a lot of people will make excuses when they lose and say it's because X, Y, Z. That doesn't mean changing the team, because it might. I don't know Tyson's setup. I don't know who's been in what part of his team over the years to be able to say. That'll be a decision he'll make. But I don't think he'll be blaming anyone else. Like he said in the press conference, he felt like he did enough to win. He felt like he put in a good performance, and he put in a great performance. But Alexander Usyk's a special fighter as well. But I'm sure he'll make that decision.
We'll turn to the undercard very quickly. We'll start off with Jaya Pattaya, defeated Maris Bradis on points in, again, a very highly contested rematch, a great fight. Happy with Jaya's performance?
Yeah, look, he's coming off the back of 2 spectacular knockout victories, and I think a lot of people expected that from him. It was a tougher fought fight than maybe people thought. Now, Bradis had a long time out of the ring, something like 22 months out of the ring. You know, it heated up later in the fight, I'd say, in that one. The early rounds, you know, weren't as entertaining, maybe, as some of Jaya's previous fights. But I think Bradis is a tough opponent. We've seen that. We saw that in the first fight they had as well. But he'll be looking at what's next. I think maybe the move to heavyweights there as well. As Alexander Usyk proved, you know, being a small man in the heavyweight division doesn't mean you can't go in there and do a job. But yeah, good win for him. You know, tough night for Joe Cordina against Anthony Cacace. I think Joe will be looking obviously at moving up in weight. He's not going to make any excuses, but Anthony Cacace put in a great performance and deserved the win. You know, and one of those things. But I'm sure Joe will be planning and working on what's next now, and we'll sit down and see where we go from here.
Is there any interest in making a rematch with Anthony Cacace, or do you feel it is just time for Joe Cordina to move himself up to 135?
I think there was a lot of talk originally about moving up in weight anyway. Anthony Cacace's got a mandatory as well against our guy. So, you know, that will probably be next. But, yeah, I think that will be the focus now, is moving up in weight.
And then just last night we got the announcement of a great fight on a headliner next gen, Johnny Fisher versus Alen Babic. A fight that's kind of took everyone by surprise. When we were looking at the next move for Johnny Fisher, we did not expect this. Just how pleased are yourself and Matchroom to get this fight over the line?
Yeah, look, a brilliant fight, and it's a real step up for Johnny Fisher as well. You know, we believe in Johnny Fisher. We believe this is just the start of his journey. But Alen Babic, you know, people saying about Alen Babic, he's small, but again, Alexander, not compared, but size, you know, doesn't always matter as much. Babic's only loss coming in a challenge for the world title, the WBC Bridgerweight title. Lawrence Okoli faces this weekend, the former world champion. This is a real step up for Johnny Fisher, and a lot of pressure as well, headlining his own show. You know, I think it's a perfect fight, and I think it's really captured the imagination of people. I think people are going to get behind it. It's going to be exciting, back and forth, for however long it lasts.
Is it now that time of Johnny's career where he's done those apprenticeship rounds, he's had those learning fights, this way we start to let him off the leash now and we can see the best of Johnny Fisher?
100%, and it's about, as well, at the same time, it's about the experience of him headlining his own shows, going into a fight where people think, actually, there's risk here. You know, because some people have written off Johnny Fisher as a bit of, you know, he sells tickets, but he's actually got a brilliant skill. He's got a great chin and he's a big lump. And I think he's got huge opportunity in the heavyweight division. But these are the kind of fights he needs, you know, to go to those next level, to build the experience, to get him to where we believe he can be.
Frank, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time today. And best.